show you a couple of blog posts that I thought were really good in terms of the multimedia aspect, so you can see what I'm talking about here. This one is by Jimmy Tang, and hi, Jimmy. Anyway, he used the quote. Um, so remember, when you are making your blog, you can go up and say, add to post, right? And one of the things that you can use, one of the tools you can use is this quoting tool. And it always looks like this. It's a big gray box. It has these quotation marks, and then it tells you, um, then you can put the quote in, and here's the author. Now, he doesn't say what the text is, but, I would do that. Another thing, and what I like about what Jimmy's done here is if you scroll down the whole thing, it's very um, it's very elegant. The gray tone gives it sort of a nice polished quality, right? So it's not wacky or whatever, but it's very nicely put together, and the tone carries through the whole thing, right? So you can see he's hyperlinked the text that we're talking about here, and he talks about what interpolation is to him. And notice that he is using the caption function to make sure that we know where his images come from, right? Um, and then he uses the quote thing again at the end. So that's one example. Now, this one, oh gee, I'm so sorry. I forgot who you are. This is terrible. But this person did a fabulous job. You can see um, here they are actually showing a picture, the mirror concept that we had. This is the actress looking in window and seeing herself, right? So that's kind of cool. And then this person writes about Lady Gaga and being a fan and learning things. Again, this one is kind of neat the way it's done tonally. There's also another color here on the outside. And they address both the readings that we did, and they have a hyperlink here as well, independent of each other. Um, so one thing that I would say to this person is, you might think about moving this image up next to the text, but it's fine the way it is. It's very um, engaging and very well done. So, and the third one that I have comes from Piper Brown, and this appears to be a picture of Lincoln Hall, which is cool. And then, um, excuse me, sorry about that. Um, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. Anyway, here is another different kind of background, and this person is doing what I've suggested sometimes looks really good is to have, in each text block, maybe put an image next to it. So, in response to the Barbie reading, this person is writing about, well, I actually played with Brat dolls, not Barbie, but it's kind of the same thing. And then, using the images to sort of offset the text and what they're talking about in the text. In this case, I would say to Piper, you do want to credit all the images. But I think this is really well done too. And you can see how it's really visually engaging. I mean, one of the things we don't want to do in a form that has the flexibility that we don't have when writing a paper in black and white is to use those elements to also visually engage the reader. And I think that putting images besides text oftentimes has a bigger impact than if you put them up here before or way at the end, especially if you're attaching images at the end. The people that you're writing for, your educated reader, your audience, are going to see it as an afterthought without really even registering it. I'm saying subconsciously they'll be like, oh, this is what they had to say, and here's the afterthought of the images. And that's why I think you need to put them earlier on. And they do break up the text. This person, Piper, has a lot to say, and it's really valuable. But if it was just text in one big block, you know, it doesn't lend itself to as much um, engagement because the person may feel overwhelmed by the amount of text, right? But really well done. These three are just three. I mean, there were others, many others that were really good in that way too. Um, but for those of you who are just still learning to use the medium and are, maybe wondering what I consider to be full points for the multimedia aspect, these three would be an example of that. Um, and the great thing about PebblePad is it's really easy to do these things. It's kind of like PowerPoint. If you can do PowerPoint, you can do PebblePad. It's not difficult to do, whereas other website design programs that we've had are quite um, sometimes cumbersome and hard to master. Um, so yeah, I'm just trying to encourage you to use your creativity when you're doing this. And again, you can use PibblePad in your personal life as well. If you want to start blogging about a particular topic like music or art or your life or politics or whatever it is that you're interested in, have at it, and you can share that on the web and then give that to the link to your friends, or you can share it individually with people. That's the nice thing about PebblePad. Everything doesn't need to go on the web. These blogs that you're seeing, I have encouraged people not to put them on the web, but to rather share them with me for a grade. We are going to get to that, our last module in the course, module 4. Um, is about digital identity. And we are going to talk about, what we should be aiming for in terms of digital identity on the web, you know. But since this is a learning space, I encourage you to just keep it between you and me for now. But if you want to do your own work, you can. That's the good news. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful.